McCready's boyfriend and classmates are brutally murdered at a party in the woods. The quiet suburban community of Sundown Hills transforms into a paranoid nightmare. Betrayal, corruption, and dark family secrets push Lisa dead center into a burgeoning class war where rival millionaires plot to steal the town's future between reliance on big oil and the incoming age of legalized weed, electric cars, and social conscience. As she struggles for answers, the killings continue, and Lisa finds the world she knew is little more than a lie to placate the masses and keep a satanic 1% in power. From the demented mind of Sean C. Baker, author of Murder Virus, A Collection of Desires, and Volume 4, comes Black Gloves and Broken Hearts, a teenage giallo mystery. Available now.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Horror Podcast. My name is Sean.
And I'm Mitzi.
And joining us this evening, Grant Rasnick, who just wrapped working, he's the boom operator on the independent horror film Big Bad Betty. Grant, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Glad to have you on, sir. For the listeners, we don't know one another. I just randomly picked a name out of the phone book and called you, and you were like, yeah, I swing boom. No, that's not what happened at all. I don't even remember what we started talking about, but we were talking. I always go into Rick's Comic City in Clarksville, where I live, and I talk movies with Ryan and Walter there every Wednesday for 2 hours. And I think I happened to go in early one Wednesday, and you were there, and as in all good comic shops, the conversation is always open to whoever wants to be involved, and we started talking flicks and whatnot. And
I think it opened with Alien Earth. We were all just finishing it.
Nice.
And it was yeah. And we all had our opinions, and then all good conversation, it snowballed.
Yes. How did you feel about the Alien Earth, the wrap-up?
I'm going to say slightly disappointed. It felt kind of just he wanted to make an Android show and didn't know how to not have it under an umbrella with Fox. And then there was a month in between them even greenlighting season 2. So I was like, is this even going to happen? Are we doing it? And it just got announced yesterday. He's making Noah Hawley. He's making a Far Cry show for FX.
Is that a game?
It was a game, yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar. I know the title.
It's a little crazy. So it's a anthology. So they're doing the whole Fargo-esque storyline where probably each season is going to be one of the games.
Okay.
Which is exciting for me because I'm a fan of the games and I like to see how people do it. So that should be fun. But yeah, Alien Earth was it was a hit for me, and then it was we forgot we have a xenomorph here, and then then they remembered and then forgot again, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, I had my issues with it too. I'll be curious to see what they do for the second season. However, I will tell you this, and I won't belabor the point, but I don't know if you saw Predator Badlands, but it made me like Alien Earth a hell of a lot more because I fucking hated Predator Badlands.
That's good. Yeah, that's at least a silver lining there. I have not seen it yet, and I was planning on it, and then random stuff just happened. So it's okay, I can't go sit down for 2 hours in a dark room, even though we all love to do that.
Right. Well, life.
Right.
But so, yeah. I mean, you're living the dream in Nashville right now. So you just got done working on this independent horror film, Big Bad Betty. The trailer's online. I like the trailer a lot. Simply, it seems like it gives you, the first time you watch it, okay, you don't know anything. The second time, and third time, I'm like, they're giving us a lot of information because they're kind of showing you the end of, not the very end, but like, this is for my friends. It's like, oh, so like whatever this, it's a creature feature, and whatever it is has apparently laid waste to her friends, and then the final girl is going to build herself some weapons and kick some ass. But watching it again just now, I really like that because actually, like, it looks thrilling. That's like just to like shorthand it, it just looks thrilling. And
I feel like our director, he knows he knew what he wanted it to be right out the gate. I feel like nowadays with a lot of movies, it's a lot of misdirection and like we want people to keep guessing. And sometimes with a low budget horror film, you don't really have time to do that. You gotta get asses in the seats, and how you do that is show people sometimes what they want to see. They want to see a monster fight a girl. And yeah, I mean, I knew nothing about it getting on it. I love telling the story, so I started PAing on a couple of music videos just around Nashville. And
okay.
I met the director. He works as a gaffer also on random music video, Justin Sulham. And we hit it off just because I was like, okay, I mean, you met me already, Sean. I'm pretty tall and wide. So like he's taller and bigger than me. So you rarely meet someone like that in my like just wherever I go. So I was like, okay, cool, and just helped him out all day. And then months later, I started meeting other people, and I was just like texting around looking for more PA opportunities. And I hear he's starting to make a film. He's gonna start shooting soon, and it was actually closer to home than regular Nashville. So I was like, let me go be his PA. Let me just learn from a guy making a movie. And after the first day, it was like, hey, do you know how to use a boom op? And I'm like, no. And it's like, let's learn. So by the end of it, I don't want to say I'm certified, but when I'm just watching this, it needs a boom operator. I I know how to do it.
Right on.
It worked on
Oh,
those.
yeah.
It worked on a film, so I'm here. And that's just an ultimately rewarding experience. For the listeners, I don't know if they all know what a PA does, but it's kind of away from film and TV and music videos, even. It's like you're there and you help. And then when the stuff starts happening, it's like you're going to go with usually a lockup, make sure nobody crosses this hallway. And that's like you're a part of it and then you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You are again and then you're not. A boom op, you're there. You're you're like we had such a small crew, which is also awesome, but it's like we didn't have room to have everybody messing around for 45 minutes. We were there on a horse ranch at 2 in the morning making a movie. And I mean, usually that sounds bad. It's like, oh man, you're working at 2 in the morning. This was awesome. This was a really rewarding first experience for me. And I've since then been on a couple of shows now. And that vibe of having the small crew where you know each other and you like what you're doing, that doesn't exist everywhere.
Right.
So it's like, it was really awesome to spend a whole summer every weekend just out there with friends making a movie and to be able to be an actual part of it aside from like basically everybody make sure everybody has water was really awesome. So that's really the story how I got on it and what we were able to do.
Well, yeah, and like production assistant, PA, like it's kind of a catch-all, right? But boom operator is specific, and like you said, I used to do sound and swing boom on when I went to Columbia College in Chicago, and I worked on a couple student films and then a couple like very indie short films or whatever, and you're there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very rewarding and I mean, I did it at a time like in the late '90s. So like the first couple I worked on was Nagra, so it was like tape. It was just
Yeah,
super cool,
yeah.
but also not super versatile.
Mm.
When you start to go with digital, it's like okay, you can do a lot more stuff. You can move faster. You don't have as many limitations. But yeah, production assistant is kind of more of a catch-all, and it's a good way to get in. But I think it's awesome right away that he's like, okay, do you know how to swing boom? Like, let's learn, and then showed you, and then now you have multiple skills that you can bring to the table somewhere else.
And it's so funny about it to me. I in 2018 and graduated high school and went immediately to film school at Belmont, which is a local college in Nashville, pretty small. But I was like, yeah, I want to do film school, and nearly failed because I couldn't figure out the boom. We had a whole project around it, and I could not figure it out. And I thought it was just really funny in retrospect, going from I hate boom, hate sound, never want to touch it, to now it's like that could be the in for me. And I mean, I'm not doing any of the editing or anything, which I could definitely learn down the line. But like, really being on set is what I super duper enjoy. It's like just really fun. A lot of jobs, they aren't fun for people. It's like
Right.
the incentive is the money. And I mean, that makes total sense. And why wouldn't it be? But like,
It doesn't. It doesn't. I
yeah,
mean, when you see what you're missing, but everything's a trade-off, right? Everything is a
yeah,
compromise.
yeah. It was just so much fun. Yeah.
It's interesting that you went from having the trouble with the boom to like looking back on it now, like what the hell? Would you say? And I know, so I know, like the first student film I worked on, the director, who's a really good guy, I mean, I don't remember his name anymore or whatever. This is like '98, but God, that was a long time ago. But um, he didn't understand sound, which is like I get it. Like he went to make movies and was thinking in a purely visual,
Yeah.
like place, and so he actually often ruined the sound. And later it came back to me that like, oh man, like yeah, because he just didn't. He's like, oh, we'll fix it in post. Like anytime you hear anybody say we'll fix it in post, it's like, don't ever say that. It's like the wrong thing to say.
Okay, that scenario. I've heard that a few times, never on this set, thankfully, but I've heard that in a few other places, and it's like, cool. That's
Especially now with sound. You might be able to edit around an image, but with sound, if the
yeah.
sound is bad, it's bad sound. You can't fix it.
I just remember at Belmont, my couple of student films, a few of them were fun, and then this one with the boom op was just a nightmare for me. And but I remember one of my major ones, I captured all the sound via the camera, and I kept everything real quiet around it. And the class was very surprised that it was not captured via boom because of how clear it was. And I was like, see, we don't need the your mic. We're fine. And then I'm like actually on a set, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. I needed that. There was a like 5 year hiatus for me going to post film school. I left after that first semester. I was like, this is not for me.
So disillusioned.
Yeah. And
What brought you back?
I want to write. That has always been the passion for a very long time. Like before I was even watching movies, I was like, well, I think we talked about it at the comic shop. The movie that got me into writing or into the idea of it was The Social Network. I was like, somebody can write that? Because before that, I was exposed to like kid films. It was
Right.
like there was nothing major. And then The Godfather on AMC, where basically everything's kind of chopped up and cut out, but like you still get the movie essentially, which, yeah, just play the whole movie, guys. We're adults. Like, if you ever catch a movie on IFC on network television, they don't cut anything out. Beautiful masterpiece. I'm like, Thank you. But I never got exposed to anything. I remember watching that movie because Facebook was so cool when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I was like, people can write like this? Like, yeah, they can cook on this level. And then that opened up the door to David Fincher films, which I don't know. Yeah, he's doing weird shit now, but like when I first started, I was like, oh my God, this is my kind of movie now. And from there, it was basically just like, let me watch all the best films I can find. And with Big Bad Betty, we're secluded on this ranch. You can go any direction for like 15 miles. There's nothing. And I mean, that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're in a situation and you're on foot, that's scary. Like that is an aspect of horror that I think we've somewhat lost in a lot of films.
Well, transportation, right? There's that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Missy, did you ever see that movie, The Wind?
I don't think so.
So Emma Tammy, who has gone on to do these the Showbiz Pizza movies, there's a new one coming out right now. I forget the name of it.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I didn't forget the name. I'm just being an asshole.
I know.
Grant, have you seen The Wind?
I have not, sadly, but it's going on the list.
It's like frontier times, and it's a husband and wife living in a cabin in the Old West, and like their nearest neighbors, I forget how many miles, right? And so right there, it's what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
and that watching that movie a couple years ago when I did more than a couple now, but she does a great job capturing that. And it's that idea that like you think of claustrophobia as a confined space, but you could have a huge space.
Yeah.
And it's just as claustrophobic. If you're on foot, you can't get anywhere and there's
trapped.
nothing around you.
A loneliness is claustrophobia to me.
Yeah.
As a character. So like his character isn't exactly played like this, and not a horror movie, but the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney.
I've never seen that actually.
Oh,
I've
man.
never seen that either.
He's a downsizing executive who lives in Omaha. He's always on planes firing people just all over the country. But through narration, he basically explains he's completely alone. He is surrounded all the time, but he is lonely. And that is great. There's like, I don't know if it actually has a genre right now, but like suburban horror, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
where, like,
it makes sense.
yeah. There's a show called The Chair Company on right now on HBO with Tim Robinson. I don't know if you've seen it.
A friend just mentioned it to me. I'd never heard of it before, and it sounded good.
It's got like real surreal vibes, but like it's like cabin fever, but like he's not stuck at home. Like he's longing for something. And there's just like it's a weird feeling. Like if you own a house, it's like you're surrounded but alone at the same time.
Yep.
And that can breed really good cinematic feels that are like untouched right now to me. Or maybe I'm just not watching the right stuff. I try to watch everything.
I love that suburban, like that's kind of one of my bread and butters. One of my books I used to describe as suburban fantasy because there's urban fantasy, but I'm like, yeah, but this shit, I don't know. I love the city, but I grew up around Chicago, but I lived in suburbs, lived in the suburbs of LA for 16 years. And now I'm in Clarksville and Nashville's 45 minutes away. I love the city, but I like the suburbs more. And one of the things about the suburbs that impressed upon me early on is that, like, I mean, as teenagers, you're going to somebody's house in the middle of the night to party or buy drugs or whatever, and you drive through the suburban neighborhood and everybody's asleep or watching TV, and you're going to this house and there's things happening in this house that aren't necessarily bad, but like might ruffle, people's feathers. And it's like, oh, every house is a locked box secret.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in this house, we're all getting high. The house next door, what's happening?
I see. I love that. And it just reminded me of the beginning of Weapons when they're all running. That literally looks like my neighborhood. I think I like suburban horror because it could be where you're at. Conceivably, that could happen here.
Feels close to home.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
it's there. And I think like I fell off of Stranger Things just because it was like, okay, 10 years have gone by. But I remember watching that first season and being like, this could be here. Like,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like, I like when, especially horror, like feels like it's very close to you. Because like I sleep soundly, but and I don't get nightmares very easily. I got nightmares after Weapons, and I some people would hate that. I'm like, I felt something leaving that theater, and I haven't had that in a while.
Oh, and when it feels like it's in your backyard, it's scary. Sinister is a good one for
Yes,
that. It's one of my favorite movies. It's one of the ones that I actually find scary, and it just looks like the house across the street. There's nothing about that house that looks scary, except that we know what happened there.
yeah, I
Good
was
pull.
like that too. Like it makes me mad a little bit.
I haven't watched the new series yet. I'm
I
waiting
haven't either. Yeah,
for the episodes to pile up. I'm a binger. I can't do week to week unless we're doing it for the podcast.
I haven't either. I do that sometimes, and then other times, like with that new Pluribus show, sci-fi horror is very underrated. I mean, we already talked about Alien and The Thing, but like we can loop in Scanners here. There's aspects there that people do not like sci-fi. People see sci-fi and think Star Wars. I've noticed, and Star Trek. There's like there, space literally wants to kill you, and I feel like that's untouched. Like not untouched, but people don't know about it as much.
It's just not done as much. I mean, like
No.
Event Horizon, which is good, but I don't think Event Horizon is the unfortunate thing of like, I feel like the first time I saw it, I was blown away. And every time I've seen it since, it loses a little something.
Yeah,
It's still really well done, but it's one of those that makes a really good initial first impression, and then once you've seen it. But or Danny Boyle's Sunshine, which I've only
yes,
seen once, but left a huge impression on me in the theater, right? Where it's like it's a sci-fi movie, and then I'm like, oh, it's a slasher now. When did that
yeah,
happen? Like, holy shit.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, so you mentioned Scanners change. I believe what you said was Scanners changed your life.
yes. It was one of those movies that like you turn on and you don't know exactly what you're going into. I was like getting super into sci-fi as a young kid, and I was like probably in like sixth grade or something. And it was like, yeah, okay, I've seen clips from, I've obviously seen the clip from the movie, but I didn't know the context of it. So I'm like, okay, guy's head is about to explode. What's so great about that? First of all, the effect in itself is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
they knew exactly what they were doing. And people nowadays are like, it looks fake. I'm like, bro, it was 1981.
Also, it doesn't really
It
look
looks
fake, in my
amazing.
opinion.
They're like, his hands aren't moving. I'm like, you're focused on the wrong thing. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's what happens to iconic imagery. It's like, how can I nitpick this?
Well, because people can watch it over and over again, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
what's the point of watching a scene frame by frame looking for inaccuracies? What are you going to gain from it? Other than you get to say his hands aren't moving. I'm like,
I know, right?
What?
They've missed the point entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
I watched that movie and it was like, you can do anything you want and make it look and feel awesome. It's in a world of just its own little stratosphere, and each movie is supposed to be its own little world. And I feel like too many movies nowadays try to, even back then, try to inhabit the same world. And that one was like, we're in a weird timeline with some great Cold War vibes of she can go sideways at any moment. I wasn't alive in the 80s, so either of you, if you guys were kicking and like remember anything, it was probably scary. But it's like, what if there was something even scarier than that? And that is frightening to me. That is a thread I want to pull on until I can't anymore. And that movie really introduced me to Blade Runner, which
Interesting.
I guess I just really like dystopian futures.
So does Missy.
big fan of them in film and books now. Like, I started reading a lot of Philip K. Dick, and he was
Oh.
Okay.
very, very big on any dystopian future you can think of. Like, that's where we're at. And I was like, yeah. And then in my mind as a kid, I was like, this kind of stuff would never happen. And then I'm like, shit, we're kind of there with a few of them.
My girlfriend and I came across a trailer for a movie I hadn't heard of, a documentary last night called Orwell.
Ooh.
And it scared the shit out of me because going back to George W. Bush, I had a friend in Dayton, Ohio, that we would talk about how Orwellian everything was, and like had several conversations. And one time I saw her, and she was reading 1984, and I was like, "Oh, so you're rereading it?" And she's like, "Yeah," and like she put the book down and got up and walked away for a while, and I picked the book up, and we were at a bar. And she was highlighting stuff, and I'm like, she's highlighting everything that's relevant. There was a lot of highlights, but those days feel like they were amazing compared to now. And like, this trailer just scared the shit. I looked at my girlfriend. I'm like, I want to watch this, but I also am terrified. She's like, I'll watch it if you do. I'm like, okay, but not tonight because I just let's prep.
It's kind of frightening sometimes when you read a book from way back and come across something. So my favorite example, Catch-22. I picked it up when I was young, didn't understand it. Came back at the beginning of grad school, read it cover to cover. And there's a line about halfway through where a colonel wants a promotion and he's about to not get it because of bureaucracy. And so he has the airmen start pledging to him every morning. And at a certain point, another guy is just like, they don't even know what they're pledging for anymore. And the colonel responds that that's why they have the kids say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning before they know what pledge and allegiance even mean. And that's like I put the book down. I was like,
Yeah.
I got brainwashed, man. I had, you're in like kindergarten or first grade.
Yeah.
And you don't know what any of those words mean at all.
You stand up in unison, put your hand on your heart, and the whole room repeat. Like, there was a point in my life where I literally was like, I don't know if you'll know this reference, but I was like, that's Cobra. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's fucking Cobra. I mean, it scared the shit out of me thinking about living that and doing it and not knowing what I was just like, this is what we do, right?
I was so American out as a kid. Like, I was American boy all the way through. And maybe that's just like, I was young, but post 9/11, that's what you did. And I was like, it took me into high school to basically think, like, what am I actually saying with these sentences? Like, what do they really mean for me as a soon-to-be 18-year-old who, in order to get a loan for school, had to sign up for selective service?
Yeah.
I'm like, what does this mean, guys? What are we doing? And then reading that, and I believe Joseph Heller published that in like 1954.
That sounds right.
So I'm like, oh my God, he clocked us. He knew exactly. Like,
some of those guys post World War II saw where it was going.
I finally started reading all of them, and I was like, incredibly thankful. Like with Philip K. Dick, Minority Report. That's a horror movie.
It's basically thought crime, right? It's essentially an extension of the Orwellian idea of thought crime.
What are they, precogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's frightening. That idea.
Scanners. Missy, when did you first see Scanners? I'm curious about everybody's history with Scanners.
When I was in junior high, because I was a video store kid. Scanners is the first movie the first David Cronenberg movie I saw, which I fell in love with and then started digging through his stuff. He's one of my favorite filmmakers, and it started with Scanners. It's also the first place I ever saw Michael Ironside, who is like the best 80s 90s villain.
He's pretty
he showed
damn
up
good.
in everything.
He's pretty damn good.
But I found it at the video store. I fell in love with it, and it made me want to see everything David Cronenberg did. And somewhere along the line is how um I stumbled on Nightbreed, which is my favorite movie.
Oh,
I
because
think
he's
it
the
all
doctor,
I
right?
think yep, I think it all started with Scanners. But I mean, I was a kid that was at the video store every weekend, and I'd just dig through the horror and sci-fi section, and then we'd have to get something for my mom. Me and my cousin would walk out with a bunch of horror and sci-fi stuff, and then we'd have to get something for mom.
So like Scanners for me was that one of my earliest memories of horror film. But I really got into Cronenberg because of all things, James Woods and his appearance in Family Guy. So I went
Oh,
back and
interesting.
watched,
Piece of candy. Piece of
yeah,
candy.
I went back and was like, what else has this guy acted in? And a lot of it is like, eh. But then Videodrome,
Fucking
and I
Videodrome.
was like,
That's
oh my
Videodrome.
god. Actually, so I went to Barnes and Noble at the end of the summer or something, and they do the Criterion sales. No Scanners. They do have it, but it wasn't available that day. 4K of Videodrome was purchased, and I was like, yes, finally. Trying to get my brother into it. He is not a body horror fan, but I'm like, you lock in.
hmm It's definitely not for everybody. My
Oh
girlfriend is
no.
just like, she's like, I can watch it, but I don't really. It. I mean, I think more modern. Like she liked the substance, although not nearly as much as I did. But I think there's a dated quality that can kind of turn people off. But Videodrome was the first one I saw, and I saw it later in life. I saw it like in my 30s.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
I'm sure
really?
I had
Okay.
seen something by Cronenberg before that, but that's, was really, oh, The Fly. But Videodrome, I mean, it, there's so many things about just the pirate transmission, that right there, that's the kind of thing that grabs me. And
Hmm.
Woods's performance, and Blondie,
The Debbie Harry.
Debbie Harry, thank you. It's man, but also, so the funny thing is, Scanners. I had watched the opening up until the head explosion, which I had known, all my life. Like it just was part
Hmm.
of growing up in the '80s. You saw it somewhere, whatever.
Right.
But I could not get into Scanners, so I just watched Scanners in its entirety for the first time last year.
Hey.
Right. I remember because I've always liked it and told you should try it again, and you just couldn't get into it.
You would say that to me, Missy, and I knew you were right. And I often like if I don't like something, especially if I like the creator, I'm like, it's I just have to come back to it and try it. It's me. It's probably me, right? And it was
Hmm.
right. But the funny thing is, watching it again the other day, I'm like, oh my God, it's so similar to Videodrome because you have all these fucking factions, right? There's
Hmm.
all these like different people with agendas, fight, vying for control of certain things, and I am a huge fan. I'm a Joe Begos fan, but The Mind's Eye, which is like his version of Scanners, and it is fucking awesome. I mean, it's like Scanners dialed up to 12. No
Mm.
disrespect to David Cronenberg. But so I don't know. It's just so funny that I couldn't get into it. Now I'm watching. I'm like, it's like the perfect double feature with Videodrome. I just don't know what
Yeah,
it
it is.
was that was obscuring me for so long.
For me, it was like really weird. Like I was terrified of War of the Worlds as a kid, the new one and the old
Mm-hmm.
one, and I just like couldn't get into anything else. I just kept watching even though I was terrified. There was some, and that's probably why I got into horror now. That elicits a reaction. And I'm like, whenever I can't get into something, I'm like, I need to come back because
Yeah.
I definitely missed something. It's like it took me a second to get into the substance. So I was just like, all right. But I'm a big fan of I can't pronounce her name, but the director, the movie Revenge from like
Oh,
2017.
is
Poorly
it?
Fargo.
Thank
Yes,
you.
uh, that movie cooked
Both movies are great.
on levels to me. I was like, yes, it, run it. But like, yeah, I always have to come back to things. I feel like I always feel like I'm doing a disservice to people. I value the medium so much that I'm like, if I don't get something, I'm like, something's wrong with me. So I come back and I'm like, okay, I get it now. So that was a full circle moment.
We all do it to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know when we see something that it not for me for whatever reason. Whether we think that it's,
Hmm.
I mean, there are there's movies that I'm just like I hate that movie. There's very few movies I'll say like that sucks because it's a made movie, but sometimes I'm like, man, it sucks. Missy, what were you going to say about Scanners a minute ago?
What I was going to say is, I think I love early Cronenberg, but there is a dated quality that if you didn't see it when you were younger, because my husband Peter reached like a year ago watched Videodrome with me, and he couldn't, like, it didn't click with him either. He loved the substance, like body horror doesn't bother him, but he found Scanner, or I'm sorry, Videodrome just kind of goofy, and I love it. But I was probably 13 when I found it.
See, I feel like sometimes those effects, people are like, they're dated and it takes them out of the movie
That
experience.
too,
It,
he doesn't. I love old school practical effects, and like we were talking about the exploding head, and to me that, like, I love that people figured out how to do this stuff. It's art.
mm-hmm.
To me, I watch something like that and it's art. The fact that they took this latex head and filled it with dog food and fake blood and rabbit livers and then shot the thing full of salt to make it explode, that's amazing to
Yeah.
me. But I mean, sometimes I'll get all excited about something like that, and Peter's like, yeah, that looked goofy. It's like, all right, well, it wasn't for you then. It
That's
was for
it,
me.
it's so weird. I also think with Cronenberg, there's an element of being late 70s, early 80s Canadian and also low budget Canadian. Because, like, I think of The Brood,
I
and
love that movie.
I love it too, but it just, there's something about the way that it looks, but also he's using that. Like, those nondescript buildings he always uses in those
Yeah,
early movies.
those hallways and shit.
Yeah, and like to me, I can remember being in like specifically like a doctor's office when I was very small, and it was that kind of building, not in Canada, but similar enough where I can draw on it. But somebody today would look at that and be like, it's you might as well be in like Lucy's apartment. You know what I mean? There's like no frame of reference for that today, I feel like.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect.
So I do feel like imagination has taken a bit of a nosedive, not with viewership. Like with Pluribus, it was really funny at the beginning. We meet a woman and she gets on a plane and flies to Albuquerque and then takes a shower, and then we meet her again later in the episode. And people on Twitter were like, how are we supposed to know it's the same person? And I'm like, or do you think we just followed a random lady and then we're never going to see her again? And then this other random lady shows up?
That's weird.
Like, we don't need, like, people need to be spoon fed information now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and even trailers do that,
Well, yeah,
where they
that's where I
show
was
us
gonna go.
everything. And that was one of the cool things about the trailer for Big Bad Betty, that you get that, like, it's an exciting trailer. You get that it's a monster movie, but we don't know what kind of monster it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. Monsters and slashers are my favorite.
There we go.
And and like I love all things horror, but then I love the indies too. So indie horror is like that's the best of both worlds.
Mm.
So I mean, new monster movie, I'm excited, and I'm glad that I have no idea what kind of monster it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
I also just got reminded because of that. I'm also in the movie.
Oh, cool.
You forgot to
that's
mention
cool.
that. That's my L. We were on set one day just chilling, and it was like he had a guy who was supposed to come down from somewhere, and it was just like the scheduling fell through. And I was like, well, I'm available. So I got like, I think a couple scenes, but I do have lines. He
Oh, nice.
trusted me enough to
Cool.
read lines. So that was pretty cool. No acting experience at all. It was like, get out there. And that's really what made it so much fun. Just the comfort level. But I was saying, like with the trailer for Betty, it tells you not exactly what it wants to be, but you know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
I feel like now it's like we can't. People don't know how to make trailers anymore, which is a big problem for me. Like I'll lay in bed at night and watch the best trailers I've ever seen. Like I return to some just randomly. They come into my mind, and I'm like, I should watch that trailer again, and then eventually watch the movie. But I'm like, yeah. And nowadays, it's like with Predator Badlands, you know exactly what they're gonna do.
Well, you don't know how. I didn't know exactly because I thought I was going to
Oh,
like it, and I did
oh,
not.
okay, there you go. Like
They
I had a
fooled
friend talk
me.
about it, and I was like, okay, yeah.
But I mean, you're right to some degree. You do know essentially like the arc or whatever. But
Yeah.
I just yeah.
My brother though had an amazing point that some shows nowadays and movies they're made to be watched in a 60-second video on like Instagram or TikTok. And you'll notice now with framing, everything is like centered, which isn't a problem. But that's so when it's put vertically, you're not missing anything on the outside. We That's so weird to me. Like to notice that watching stuff from nowadays, I'm like, damn. And back in the day, like Cronenberg, it was like, we got to do it this way or it's not going to work.
Right.
There was a sense of urgency. Like we have that on Betty. It was like we have tonight to shoot something. And there was a day where it took like 4 hours to figure something out. We're out there, it was director, two actors, and me, a crew of four at like 3 in the morning, just recording something. And I feel like nowadays, I mean, on the shows I've been on, it's like, damn, we didn't get it today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Not everybody has that.
No, if you're
A
an
lot of them,
independent
yeah.
production, you don't have that.
No.
We don't have the time or obviously the money to run it back.
Right.
Like, can we take a punt today? No, we cannot. Major production, they can sit on anything for a week and do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine when things were shot on film.
Looping back in the Social Network, they did that opening scene, I think, like 200 times to get the beats all right.
Oh, they got it, man.
And yeah, that is an opening scene for the ages to me.
Yeah.
That is like you're hooked.
Agree. That's
like,
such a fucking great movie. Goddamn.
So good. I'm like the fastest 2 hours of my life.
Yeah.
I've rewatched it probably 100 times by now. And
I was just thinking about that flick.
yeah. Whenever I get in like a writing lull, like for whatever I'm doing, I'm like, I put on the Social Network. They can write like the and reading the script really opened my eyes because like the script is like 170 pages. Like, there's no way they did that in under 2 hours. But there's some you probably know steppage in film talk. So when two characters like talk over each other, a lot of movies are like, okay, this person says a line and then takes a beat, and then this other person comes in and says a line. Normal people do not talk that way.
No. Nope.
Normal people interrupt each other, start a completely different sentence. And I'm like, yeah, that's how people talk. Like Tarantino, when I first started watching his movies, it was like people talk fast and they sometimes dance around what they're saying, which adds to a conversation. Like a lot of movies nowadays are like, we need this person to say this thing now, because that's where the like you remember in like the plot arc like graph, whatever they showed you, where it's like rising action here, then we got to bring it down to the climax.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not like every movie has that, yes, but like in certain movies, you can tell, okay, we're at this point now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And
If you know the form, you can recognize it pretty easily.
But great films, you're like, shit, we're here now. Like it sneaks up on you, and yeah, I feel like we bring it back. Betty really has that. It's like it's taking a clear form, and then it takes a turn, and you're just like, shit, this got wild for out of nowhere, and it's short, not short. I believe it clocked in at like 85 minutes.
Okay, that's
Okay.
standard. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not dismissively saying. I'm just saying
No.
that's like that's standard indie horror. Like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna feel cheated.
Yeah.
I noticed that writer director Justin Sulham. So he's actually. It looks like he's worked like camera and stuff on Severance,
Yes.
Dexter, Holdovers. Um, Something called Night of the Werewolves. I've never heard of before, but I'm
Yeah,
instantly curious.
he moved to Boston a while ago. So all of those are Boston area productions, which I didn't know that
Got it.
about Severance. That really took me by surprise. I was like, okay.
I thought that's not. Well, I guess the exteriors are Canada. That's me falling for because there's second unit stuff has got to be like the North.
Yeah. But like my first time actually talking to him on that first set, I was like, okay, what do you do? And he's like, yeah, pretty much everything, like camera department, gaff, it's everything. And I always try to ask people not to get like starstruck or anything, but I was like, who's the coolest person you've worked with? And out of nowhere, he was like Paul Giamatti. And I'm like, okay, shit, that's a name I not only know but deeply respect in film.
Big Bad Betty. Do you know? Is there a timeline for this? So I saw that it's like there was some mention of it being going to be on Screamify.
Yes, it was right now. I think there's a hard timeline for early next year, I believe.
Okay.
So we'll see. Yeah, it's coming. It's
I'm looking forward to it quite a bit, and maybe we'll be back on once it's out and we could talk about it.
yeah, I'd love to. This was a lot of fun. Just
Cool.
people need to talk about movies enough anymore. It's like
we do.
We do.
So you're always
We do
welcome,
here.
Mike. It's all we fucking talk about, but I mean that's how we like it. So
Yeah.
But well, Grant, thank you for coming on. And Big Bad Betty, it's coming soon. And this is Horror Vision. I'm Sean.
I'm Missy.
And we'll be back soon. Grant, take care. And yeah, people, if you need a sound guy or PA, hit him up. Grant _Rasnick.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.